Hello everyone, you're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil, and we are starting with some piece of breaking news coming in from that ongoing investigation related to Raj Kundra pornography case. After her husband's custody was extended, the crime branch will now probe Shilpa Shetty's bank accounts. Crime branch of Mumbai wants to probe if the financial proceeds from the Hotshot app subscription, which was used to distribute porn, were then parked into Shilpa Shetty's bank account. Sources say actor Shilpa Shetty's statement will be recorded today. She is currently being quizzed by the property cell of Mumbai crime branch. I'm going to go straight to Harman Gomes, who joins me. Harman, give us the details. What is it that the Mumbai crime branch wants to know from Shilpa Shetty?
Well, Maria, yes, just going by the remand note today, what the Mumbai police is trying to look into is the financial proceeds that were garnered after the sale of this sort of pornographic content. Now, most of the money, as we know, has been coming in through foreign currency. Even when the raids happened, there was certain sort of foreign currency that was seized. What was the amount, we do not know at this point in time, but we do know that, it has come in mostly from the subscriptions. Now, after that money came in, where was it parked into whose bank accounts? What the cops believe at this point in time, it may have or may have not been also kept into the joint accounts that were held both by Raj Kundra as well as his wife, Shilpa Shetty. The cops are not saying that she's an accused, but they simply want to know if she was in the know about this particular business run that Raj Kundra allegedly ran. Was she aware about this money that was kept? How much is it? We also do not know. The ballpark figure is also not yet available, but we do know from the bank accounts that have so far been freezed, it is somewhere to the tune of 7.5 crore rupees. Was it entirely from the from the sale of this sort of pornographic material? That too is not known, but it is somewhere around 7.5 crores. Her statement is important because they believe there could be certain bank accounts which are jointly held by the couple. So did she at any point believe or doubt from where was this money coming in? Was she aware? Was she not aware? That is something that she's being quizzed about. Her statement officially will be recorded by the crime branch today, is what we are told. The raids are still ongoing even as we speak, Maria. And that is what the police want to try and understand from her. Did she at any point try to inquire, try to find out, or will she completely feign negligence about not knowing from where was this money coming in? That is something that the Mumbai police wants to probe, because the allegation against Kundra that the cops made today was that some of the proceeds that he managed to get in from the sale of this sort of material was used for illegal betting in India, is what the cops are claiming.
And so the cops want to know that whether Shilpa Shetty was a party in terms of not being an accused, but was she a beneficiary of the amount or the cash that was generated by Raj Kundra allegedly through the sale of these pornographic content. What about that company which was being promoted by Shilpa Shetty and of which her mother was also a part?
Well, yes, that company too is under the scanner as of now, even because we are told that, as you are pointing out, her mother was the director until last year, till July 2020. She herself had been promoting it online even as recent as 5 months ago. They want to understand whether the money that was garnered from the sale of the pornographic material was then used to float this particular company, which also produces adult content. It is still active. The website is still available in India. Was it also used as a front when they realized that trouble was sort of brewing against Hotshots, the app that Raj Kundra claimed to have sold to his brother-in-law? That is something that they want to try and understand, whether this was a new company that was floated. So these are some of the questions that are definitely going to be asked of her, because her mother was one of the directors, her husband still continues to be, and she herself was one of the promoters of this company. She herself was advertising via videos that were created as recent as 5 months ago. Whether what does she exactly respond, Maria, that remains to be seen.
And so far, Harman, we haven't really heard from anybody in Shilpa Shetty's team. None of our PRs or her managers have spoken about it or have issued a statement. Can we expect a formal statement from Shilpa Shetty after her questioning?
Well, Maria, ever since this racket broke out, we tried to get in touch with the PR. They've been completely tight-lipped. Today she takes to social media and puts out a very philosophical sort of quote stating about how she has endured similar sort of troubles in the past and how she's overcome. What I can tell you is that she's been camping at her residence now ever since this camp broke out. She judges a dance reality show at Film City. She was supposed to shoot a few days ago. She decided to cancel that. So far, she's not been even coming to the studios to shoot for her this particular dance reality show. As such, I think until and unless there is some sort of relief, if one may say so, in this particular, probably until that she might not decide to speak or even issue a sort of formal statement. Maria.
All right. A story that we'll be continuing to track very closely because Shilpa Shetty is being quizzed. Harman Gomes, appreciate your time. Shifting focus now to the debate on News Epicenter today.
Shantanu Sen stands suspended for remaining part of the bill. For the remaining part of the session.
TMC has a culture of violence in Bengal. That same culture of violence they are trying to bring in the parliament.
सोच भी नहीं सकते कि एक मिनिस्टर होके जिस तरीके से वो मेरे को थ्रेट किया, वो मेरे ऊपर ऐसे फिंगर पॉइंटिंग करके मेरे को जबरदस्ती थ्रेट किया।
हम बहुत खुश हैं कि ये बंगाल का कल्चर जो बीजेपी का अगेंस्ट है और डेमोक्रेसी के फॉर है, वो कल्चर हम यहाँ लाने में बहुत खुश है। ये जो गुजरात स्नूपिंग मॉडल है, जो साहेब वाले स्नूपिंग मॉडल है, वो आप सारा इंडिया में ला रहे। ये कल्चर तो इन्होंने शुरू किया पार्लियामेंट में लाना और देश में लाना।
The Prime Minister and the Home Minister have used this weapon against the Indian state and against our institutions.
वो इस बात पे आमादा है कि लोकतंत्र सही तरह ना चले, पार्लियामेंट सही तरह ना चले। राहुल गांधी जी की पार्लियामेंट्री परफॉर्मेंस आप सब जानते हैं।
We have called for a judicial inquiry. Frankly, the perception is that a governmental inquiry would not be trusted.
What is the point in, I don't understand why should the government snoop, activists, lecturers, students, lawyers, journalists, and even Rahul Gandhi's phone has been tampered. Is he a terrorist?
The first week of the monsoon session a complete washout, with the opposition waging war over the Pegasus list as the scandal emerged just ahead of the first day. Rahul Gandhi fired the first shot via Twitter on Monday morning, saying, "We know what he's been reading, everything on your phone," and chaos erupted in Parliament, with opposition leaders even interrupting Prime Minister's speech introducing the new Council of Ministers. The Modi cabinet's new IT minister, Ashwini Vaishnaw, took the lead to present the government's stand, dismissing the charges, with even Home Minister Amit Shah stepping in, calling the opposition disruptors and obstructors, allowing vested interest to derail the nation's Vikas agenda. But the Congress stuck to its stand, calling for an investigation. The storm continued on Tuesday, with more opposition parties jumping in, and the controversy over deaths due to oxygen shortage after the centre said that none were reported by the states. The opposition accused the government of lying and insulting those who lost their loved ones during second wave. But the Pegasus storm continued to rally the opposition parties, with the TMC taking the lead, culminating in the hangama in the Rajya Sabha on Thursday, when TMC MP Shantanu Sen snatched, tore and threw papers during the IT minister's statement. The fight continued today, with the BJP training its guns at Shantanu Sen, moving the motion which led to his suspension for the rest of the monsoon session. After his initial tweet, the week came full circle as Rahul Gandhi spoke out, calling for action against both the Prime Minister and Home Minister. Rahul Gandhi is among the 300 Indians dubbed potential targets of hacking, but there is no real evidence. The point has been made clear by both the NSO group, which developed Pegasus, as well as Amnesty International, which published the list. But the government till now has not come clean on whether it bought Pegasus from the NSO group. At the same time, it has not ruled out authorized snooping by either a government agency or a foreign power. The monsoon session will conclude on August 13th, and the legislative agenda has suffered a major setback with key bills pending. There are clearly questions for both sides, and the scandal shows no signs of dying down in the clash between conspiracy and conjecture. So what really is the road ahead? I am being joined by Zafar Islam, Member of Parliament of the BJP, Ami Ben Yagnik, Member of Parliament of the Congress, Dr. Amar Patnaik is a Member of Parliament of the BJD, Om Prakash Mishra is the TMC spokesperson. Ami Ben Yagnik, can there be constructive cooperation between opposition and the Treasury benches for ensuring passage of critical bills?
There can be and there should be constructive opposition, and that is where the rules of the game come into picture. Fairness, the way the procedures have to be followed, and the present ruling dispensation is supposed to give answers, because they are not giving answers to the parties, they are giving answers to the country. And so they are wanting to run away from them, run away from answering questions. It happens every time a question is put, whether it's the farmers' bills, whether it is proper discussions, proper debates. The demands are practically totally bulldozed, and no procedures are followed, no notices are being heard, no rules are being followed. So where would the opposition go? The opposition is wanting answers. Just by making blatant sweeping statements coming from ministers, you can't give answers of such a huge incident that has happened of spying.
Okay.
The former
shouldn't there be a discussion on Pegasus scandal? If the opposition says, let there be a discussion, and then they are demanding a judicial probe or a JPC or a IT committee probe, although there is confusion on that particular front. But if the opposition wants a discussion on Pegasus, then why can't you agree with the opposition and suggest it before the Business Advisory Committee?
You are asking me this question,
yes,
Maria?
Yes.
Well, let me respond to that. You heard Ami Behan, she has very candidly said that the opposition should have a very constructive approach. But unfortunately, that is completely missing. It has a very disruptive approach. We always have conveyed to them that we want to have a broad discussion on every subject you want to raise. We are not shying away from discussions. We want to have discussion because this is the platform where everyone can discuss. But are they really interested in discussing? Congress appears to be they are the largest party in the opposition. They are the principal opposition party, but their approach is where something which needs to be discussed, debated, because why they want to misuse or they waste the taxpayers' money, and instead of discussing business which needs to be discussed, all the legislative agenda which needs to be discussed, and we are open to discussion, anything they want to discuss, but they are not keen. They just want to disrupt the parliament. They don't want to get the business transacted on the House of the Parliament.
No,
and
about the
they
Business
want
Advisory
to
Committee.
convey
Yes,
a
ma'am.
message to the
I'm going to
party-
get you in.
party-
I
party-
just want to know about the Business Advisory Committee. Did the government agree to the issues that the opposition wants to be discussed and have time been allocated to them? The farmers issue. They want a discussion on the Pegasus scandal. Has the government agreed on these discussions? And under which category? Under which motion?
Maria, in the Business Advisory Committee meeting, it was on a very positive note. All the opposition parties were being represented by them. They discussed it. In fact, the Honorable Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, he also conveyed that whatever has been discussed in Business Advisory Committee, all the discussion can take place if you allow the Parliament
20
to
seconds
function.
to you, and then I'll bring in other panelists.
Just a second. Then at 12:30, when Mr. Piyush Goyal, who is the leader of Rajya Sabha of ruling party, he convened a meeting. None of the opposition party attended that meeting.
Okay. So you're
What was
shifting
that,
the
meeting
goalpost,
for?
and you do
To
not
discuss
really want
and
a
find
solution.
role.
Is the charge
Role.
against the Congress party, Ami Ben? That
No,
you do not want the House to function, and you're only looking for excuses. If Piyush Goyal has invited opposition parties for a discussion, what was stopping you from not going?
No, everyone is discussing and all notices are given as per the requirement of procedure, but you do not want the notices to be heard. The notices are totally brushed aside. So many notices and everything is going as per rule, but they do not want to have a discussion. That is the crux of the issue. And it was very good that the BJP spokesman is coming out with taxpayers' money. That is the question. who purchased when the Pegasus spyware, because Ravi Shankar Prasad has already said that one of the governments out of the 45 governments is India, and India has purchased the spyware. So the taxpayers' money has gone into buying spyware. So from which ministry, from which place the taxpayers' money has gone? It does not befit the BJP spokesperson to
Om
speak
Prakash
like this.
Mishra, since it is the TMC which has stolen the thunder here clearly and has run away with the ball as far as optics is concerned in the parliament, you know, here is the IT minister making a statement. Why should the member of parliament disrupt the manner in which Shantanu Sen did? If you want a question to be answered, here is the IT minister answering that question.
First, I would like to mention that we are not there to steal the thunder and so on. We are in the opposition and we are very well coordinating with other opposition political parties. Trinamool Congress is committed to India's constitutional democracy. To the extent that it is disrupted, it is threatened, Trinamool Congress would definitely protest. So far as Parliament's internal procedure is concerned, processes are concerned, it is not proper on my part to refer. But at the same time, I would like to mention, because you named a Trinamool Congress Rajya Sabha MP who has been suspended, that he was also threatened. He was threatened, he was abused by a member of the union cabinet. I am very sorry to say that no cognizance is being taken of the point raised by and the allegation raised by Dr. Shantanu Sen. Thirdly, I would like to agree with the Congress
acrimonious?
Zafar,
why is this?
One second.
Okay,
Maya, this is not.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I agree with the Congress spokesperson here. He has very correctly pointed out that how the call attention motion, or for that matter, yet other privileges that the members of parliament have, that is all being completely brushed aside. Committee system has been given a go-by by this government. There is no structured discussion. How come that the Prime Minister and the Home Minister are not ready to answer the very legitimate question that is being raised? And the Pegasus project is a project which actually has been sponsored by Government of India. They have purchased it. They are not accepting it. They have to take the responsibility.
Why is the situation and the overall atmosphere in the parliament so acrimonious?
It is acrimonious because this is what Sushma Swaraj and Arun
please
Jaitley
let me respond first. Let me respond. See, who wants to have this kind of acrimonious relationship? We do not want. We are the ruling party. We want the business to be transacted there, and it is the responsibility of the ruling party to get this job done. But when they are determined to create ruckus in the parliament, and it's so evident and apparent in their behavior, the moment the House starts and you see the opposition bench, how they start making noises, that suggests that their intent is very, very different than what they speak now. Outside the parliament, they speak a very different language, but when they actually have to perform what they speak outside
parliament of the
BJD, they do not
Tell
do
us, Mr. Patnaik, you are listening to both the sides, Dr. Patnaik, and you are also a parliamentarian. Is there some way the House can function? I think the TMC has made its stand known, and so has the Congress, that they will not be letting the House function, and if anything, this monsoon session is heading for a complete washout. What has happened in this 1 week is perhaps a glimpse of what will be playing out in the next 3 weeks.
Mayaji, the point that I would like to make is, you see, the parliament is the institutional mechanism provided to the members of parliament to raise issues relating to their constituencies, and as far as the Rajya Sabha is concerned, to raise the larger issues of the state. When there is a disruption for the way that's happening currently, I think it serves none of these states any good, because none of the issues relating to the state gets a chance to be raised either through a 0 hour or through a special mention or even a private member's discussion. The demands that the opposition parties are making here outside the parliament or the notices they have issued, I have a feeling that unless there is a discussion, for example, in this case of COVID, we had a very fruitful discussion, and that was done even before the Business Advisory Committee could meet. A similar kind of situation could have happened after the minister's statement, in which there could have been a discussion. There could have been issues raised as to what kind of investigation that the opposition or whoever wants it. But what I am worried as a regional party representing a poor state, that my voice in the entire process gets throttled. All the issues relating to my state, which I would have raised in the 0 hour, or my colleagues MPs would have raised, and I'm sure a similar position obtains for many of the other regional parties when parliament stops functioning, when there is total disruption. I think this is not good for democracy in any sense of the term.
Will you explain, Ami-Ben Yagnik? Here is a regional party MP. He is worried that he is not able to reflect issues that are very important in his state of Odisha.
I completely agree that these issues need to be discussed, debated, and a conclusion has to come to. But if you see the proceedings of the Rajya Sabha in the last 4 days, their question arises when the LOP wants to get up and make an address, but that itself is not given to the LOP. Now, if the leader of opposition is not being heard, he has to make a statement, he wants to make a request, he wants to bring a notice, he wants to bring a notion about the topics he wants to discuss and bring it to the House. He is not allowed to. That notice is not taken up and the House just stops functioning. So at that time, you have to raise your issues.
Dr. Patnaik, both the Congress and the TMC, they have the similar issues. They are both talking about Pegasus because their leaders have been allegedly snooped upon. Your leader may not have been in that list. Is that the reason why you feel that is not an important issue?
No, I never said that is not an important issue. What I say that just like COVID discussion on COVID management, which was very important, and there was a minister's reply given for an hour, a similar kind of procedure could have been adopted for Pegasus. The minister was reading a statement. After the statement, in fact, today itself, Honorable Chairman, when Mr. Jairam Ramesh, Honorable Member, raised the issue that there has been no clarification on the statement, then the Chairman said that I will fix a date taking from the Minister to have these clarifications. So then you start discussing. And then I'm not saying it is unimportant. It is definitely very important. But there is a process. The Parliament has to function, has to debate, has to discuss. I am not blaming the opposition. I am not blaming the ruling party. I am saying what is happening is unfortunate because we smaller parties are totally sucked into this system in which we are unable to raise the voice of the state for which we are sent here, number one. And even national issues where we have an interest. For all you know, our leader could have been snooped in Orissa, in which case it would have been even, whether he is snooped or he is not snooped.
Made an important point on the show, and so thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us time, because this is something that has to be pondered upon by both the BJP and also by the opposition parties, because this disruption is only continuing. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.